Welcome to the Road to CHOGM, an inside look at the journey to the 2026 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. In the weeks ahead, we will continue to bring you the stories, the people, and the conversations shaping this historic event, from climate action to youth empowerment, trade, innovation, and sustainable development. I'm Nicola Barito. This is the Road to CHOGM. Welcome back. The Road to CHOGM 2026 is gathering momentum, with Antigua and Barbuda preparing to host leaders from across the Commonwealth. But beyond the high-level meetings and discussions, a number of side events will focus on some of the most pressing issues facing small island developing states. One of those is Blue Finance and Innovation, hosted by the Center of Excellence for Oceanography and the Blue Economy. I sat down with Dr. Branson Bell, Executive Director of COBE, who had a lot to share. My first question was, what's the role of the Center of Excellence for Oceanography and the Blue Economy expected to play during CHOGM 2026? And how can Antigua and Barbuda now use this to advance Blue Economy initiatives?
I think it's extremely important for Antigua and Barbuda to show that leadership position. Certainly not just from Commonwealth, Caribbean, if you think about OECS, CARICOM, but globally, we have taken this leadership position on many of the issues that related to the ocean. Certainly in terms of blue economy within the Commonwealth, Antigua and Barbuda is a lead with Kenya on the blue economy front. And so it will be extremely important. And we're very excited to showcase, as I mentioned, our exhibition will showcase local projects, and we have some exciting projects, both from the university and from several NGOs around Antigua and Barbuda to showcase some of the work that we've been doing. You can think about some of the coral restoration work that we have done in Antigua and Barbuda, also restoration of Redunda. So these are some of the projects that we would like to showcase, just to demonstrate our leadership position in this front.
When it comes to marine conservation, blue economy, and oceanography, the terms may be unfamiliar and even alien to some of us. My question to Dr. Bell: how important is it for COBE to push the narrative that we need to pay more attention to the blue economy, as it is in our best interest?
The ocean space represents a significant proportion of the global, within the Commonwealth family, global ocean resources. If you think about Antigua and Barbuda, we like to use the word small island developing states. That is a term that we do not like to use. We like to see ourselves as big ocean states. And so if you look at our ocean space that we manage, it's significantly larger than our land space. Between 250 to 300 times the land space is the ocean space that we manage. And so as a big ocean space, big ocean state, we need to showcase the significance and the opportunities that the blue economy represents. If we think about our local economy, 60 to 70% of our GDP is dependent on tourism. Most of our tourism is coastal. It's based on the ocean, our yachting industry, our fisheries, our seafood. It's extremely important economic picture in terms of the contribution to our national development.
Key messages are important, especially for Commonwealth leaders. Dr. Bell shares some of those takeaways he wants to resonate regarding challenges and opportunities facing small island states.
I mean, this is a much wider challenge that we have. We know Antigua and Barbuda has graduated from the ODA development list, and we think it disproportionately affects successful countries with small populations, because you're dividing that GDP by the population. So if you have a small population, like many countries in the Eastern Caribbean, and you have a vibrant economy, you're almost penalized in terms of access to development aid. So what we really want to showcase is that we do have challenges and needs in terms of management and restoration of our ocean. As you know, we're on the front line of climate change. We don't significantly contribute to many of the causes of these changes, but you know, we have the hurricanes, the bleaching events for our coral reefs, the droughts. As you can see now in Antigua and Barbuda, it's quite dry, and so we're on the forefront, and we just want the world, the larger Commonwealth family, to know that we would like to partner with other countries, other larger Commonwealth countries, to help us to manage our oceans, as well as our coastal environment.
Beyond CHOGM 2026, given the platform, now how does Antigua and Barbuda take advantage of this platform afforded in areas such as research, investment, climate resilience, and regional cooperation? This is his feedback.
With some of the partners and countries that are coming, the world's media will be following some of the leaders of these countries. And so we hope that we can use this opportunity to propel Antigua and Barbuda in the global forum. In addition to that, at our side event, for example, we're having Charles Goddard from The Economist Impact as our moderator. And so he comes with him the weight of The Economist and avenues he is able to reach in terms of his editorial work. And so we're trying to partner with global leaders, financiers, to bring them here to Antigua and Barbuda to see some of the good work we're doing and try to get some of that exposure. This is what we're trying to do. Some of the large projects, you know, they command a global presence at many conferences, but some of the smaller regional projects, although they're doing really great work, they don't get that exposure. And so we hope that by bringing this event to Antigua and Barbuda through CHOGM, a lot of the smaller projects, as I mentioned, can get that global highlight, that global spotlight.
Here's a question I'm sure many of you are asking. How does the work and research of CHOGM benefit, or let's say trickle down to the average Antiguan and Barbudan? Dr. Bell breaks it down.
At the Center of Excellence for Oceanography and the Blue Economy, our main remit, our mission statement is really to build capacity and research expertise around areas related to oceanography and the blue economy. So this really boils down to research. However, this is not our only mandate. We also have a mandate to build capacity in the local community, and this means vocational training. So, for example, we have fisherfolk who dive for conch and lobster, many of whom end up with the bends for various reasons, and so we would like to help to educate the local community, fisherfolk, for example, in safe dive practices. We would like to empower them through dive certification so that they can carry out their practice in a safer manner. We also think about boat handling skills. Often we hear, you know, we've lost 2 fishermen at sea, 3 fishermen at sea. It happens too often. And we think it's because, you know, our fishing community perhaps could do with some upskilling, understanding the limitations of their own skill set, but also the capacity of their vessels. And so we believe that through this vocational training in the maritime sector, we think that that can be a powerful tool to help to reduce the amount of incidents we have. We do have the Harrison Center, which does vocational training, but up until now, nobody's really focusing this vocational training in the maritime sector. And so this is where we believe that we can help to bridge that gap. to upskill our local community in areas related to marine use, diving, certification, boat handling, etc.
Let's talk about the side event, Blue Finance and Innovation, November 3rd.
Our side event will be on the 3rd of November at the main conference site. Officially, we kick off at 4 p.m., but we will be opening our exhibition at 2 p.m. so that delegates can come and mingle and have a look at some of the exciting projects that we have on Showcase. And then we officially open our side event at 4 p.m. where we will have what we're not calling it a fireside chat, we're calling it a beachside chat, given our location. So this fireside chat, beachside chat will be moderated by Charles Goddard, as I mentioned, where we'll be having a number of global CEOs at the table discussing ideas around innovative blue financing for Commonwealth countries. We will then move into a high-level segment where we're expecting to have key contributions from heads of states of selected countries that have been at the forefront of ocean management and conservation. And then we move into a cocktail reception where we will reopen the exhibition, and we hope that in the cocktail hour people can mingle, they can go and look at the exhibition, perhaps they see a project that, hey, I would like to fund you, here's $50 million. I don't know. I hope that we can unlock that type of funding with the side event. And then people might wonder, okay, this is quite nice, this is for delegates and heads. What we would like to do is that, given that we're bringing in some of the world's most innovative projects to mingle with our local projects, we're hoping that we can keep the exhibition open and invite school kids after the delegates and VIPs have left. We can bring the school kids in to have a look. So we're trying to work out and negotiate with our project partners if we can make this a possibility. Because it would be a shame to bring them all the way here and only delegates get to interact. So we would like the wider community through school kids, given that they're the future, to be able to see some of the innovative work. Maybe they think, hey, I would like a career in this particular area that looks exciting.
CHOGM 2026 is just under 4 months away. An incredible amount of work has been put in and a lot more to come. Dr. Bell is not flying solo. He has an entire team behind him, including the UE5 Islands.
We have a great team. Obviously we have the University of the West Indies behind us. We also have partnered with Blue Charter from Commonwealth Secretariat, the Association of Commonwealth Universities, Antigua and Barbuda Defence Force. So we have quite a great team working on the planning of this event. 2 weeks ago, we launched our side event at the Our Oceans Conference in Mombasa, Kenya. There was a Ocean Ministers Roundtable that Commonwealth Secretariat organized, and there we invited ocean ministers to our side event and to impress on them that, going back to their capital cities of their respective countries to solicit that support for our side event.
How does Dr. Bell feel about all of this coming together?
This is exciting. Just a few more things to iron out in terms of organization of the side event, but I think we'll be there well in advance. And we hope that we can share our experience with the other side events that are planning to be hosted at this year's CHOGM.
Utmost thanks to Dr. Branson Bell for giving us his time. Remember, the side events make a difference. Blue Finance and Innovation, November 3rd. When we come back, another side event, we sit down with Peter Holland of the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness and their Global Eye Health Summit.
Antigua and Barbuda will be at the center of global business this November. For the first time in its history, the country will host the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM. A key part of those discussions will be the Commonwealth Business Forum. It will be hosted by the Commonwealth Secretariat in partnership with the government of Antigua and Barbuda and the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, CHOGM.
The road to CHOGM will therefore focus on new initiatives for high-impact investments, building deeper trade and investment partnerships.
A lot of business people will come to our country, and they will share technological developments, they will share investment opportunities, and we certainly want to make sure that our local business people are at the table.
Decision makers and thought leaders in business will converge on Antigua for this blockbuster event. Local businesses will get their chance to network and explore cutting-edge partnerships to take their enterprises to the world. The sub-region will also be engaged, as the forum will feature the Investment Summit with a participation from the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Find out how you and your business can be a part of the Commonwealth Business Forum from November 2 to 4, 2026. Contact the planning office today at 464-5113. The Commonwealth Business Forum will be game-changing. Be a part of it.
Welcome back to the road to CHOGM. Peter Holland is the Executive Director of the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness. Peter shares with us the significance of the summit, why it matters to Commonwealth and beyond, and staggering figures, actually, of more than 1 billion people who do not have access to eye care, which I felt was traumatic and tragic. Peter breaks it down.
I mean, firstly, you say that's quite a traumatic statement, and it's extraordinary, actually. There are 1 billion people around the world who don't have access to the eye care they need, and for the vast majority of them, it's as simple as a pair of glasses or a cataract operation. These are really straightforward and actually cheap interventions. So it's a tragedy and shocking that so many people don't have access to their eye care. And it's not just about vision and health. That lack of access has a real direct impact on their lives. Like you, I wear glasses. If I didn't have my glasses, I couldn't do my job. And for many people, that's the reality. For children, if they don't have access to the eye care they need, many of them can't go to school. And that has a direct impact on their lives, but then a much wider impact. We know that if we got access to eye care, if those people had access to the eye care they need, the global economy would grow by $450 billion every year. That's the amount that's lost in lost productivity because people don't have access to eye care. For children, it's 13 million years of schooling that's lost every year, and it would mean 22 million more people in jobs who can't currently in jobs. So it's a huge impact globally, but of course behind those big numbers are individuals. It's somebody who loses their job because they can't see. It's a child who can't go to school because they can't read the blackboard, they can't read, and they can't learn as a result. So what's happening alongside the Commonwealth heads of government is a really historic moment. It's the first ever global summit for eye health, and that's an amazing event for us, and we're hoping that leaders from across the Commonwealth, and indeed wider than that, will come together to focus on eye health and what they can do and what their countries can do. And we hope that they will come with commitments to say how they are going to improve eye care and the eye health of their populations in their countries. And a lot of that has been down to the leadership of Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda has been a great supporter and leader on eye health on the world stage. And really over the past 5-10 years, we've made enormous progress in getting recognition of eye health as a social and economic, as a development issue, and understanding globally of its impact that it has on people's lives and that broader impact on the economy and on productivity. And we wouldn't have achieved that without the support of the government of Antigua and Barbuda, without the leadership from Prime Minister Gaston Brown and the leadership of High Commissioner Hill and Ambassador Aubrey Webson in New York, who've been extraordinary champions and advocates for us on the world stage. And that's why it's really fitting that we can hold the summit here in Antigua and Barbuda in St John's on the 2nd of November. It's fitting that it's going to be hosted by the government of Antigua and Barbuda, and fantastic that it's alongside the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting when we have so many leaders already in Antigua and we hope will then join us at the summit.
Peter has realistic expectations coming out of CHOGM when it comes to more access to eye health.
So the first thing is, eye health and vision is universal. It doesn't matter where you live. Almost everybody during their lifetime will have an eye health issue. And so many of us need glasses to just live our daily lives. And that makes no difference whether you live in a small island developing state, or like me, I live in London, or you live in some of the huge countries like India or China. The problems are the same. But the solutions are the same as well, and actually are straightforward. It's about access to glasses for the vast majority of people, and for many others it's very straightforward operations like a cataract operation, which can really change people's lives. So these are not, what is, I think, different about eye health and eye care is this isn't a really complex problem, and it's not expensive. There are simple solutions, and we know what they are. So there are a number of interventions which we are calling for, which are straightforward across for any country to do. So what we're advocating for is that we should expand screening in the community so that as many people as possible can get an eye test, but particularly for children and particularly for people over 40, which is when your eyes begin to get a bit worse. And alongside that screening, be able to immediately hand out reading glasses for people who are diagnosed with having problems as you get older in terms of being able to read. So that those glasses are immediately available and straightforwardly there. To improve cataract operations and support surgical teams to be able to improve and expand cataract operations, and then to make people aware. So some of the problems that people have are simply that they aren't aware that they've got an eye care problem, or on how to deal with it. So actually just improving access and encouraging people to go and get their eyes checked and then seek treatment if they need it. Now these are not complicated complicated interventions. So what we're asking governments to do is to come with their plans on how they do it. So we know summits, you can come and talk and not much can change. What we're hoping is that as many governments as possible will come with very clear commitments about what they can do. And we're working now and contacting and talking to as many ministries as possible to encourage them to come with those commitments. But alongside that, we're asking the sector, so the organisations that make up our alliance, to come with their commitments to set out what they can do to support. Because many of our organisations work in those countries and provide services already in those countries. So that we will get, we hope, governments coming along and saying, this is our commitment, these are the resources we're prepared to put in, this is how we will address the problems in our country. But alongside that, we have the non-governmental organisations and the private sector also saying, this is how we can help, this is the support that we will bring alongside it, and again, hopefully bring resources to help governments address the problems in their country.
For Peter, firm collaborations is crucial.
This is a partnership that for many people, this is a partnership across government, non-government organisations and the private sector. Many people get their glasses in shops, in private sector organisations. So we can't do this. It can't just be the expectation that governments will do this on their own, or that non-governmental organisations will do it. It has to be a partnership across everyone.
Peter also explains the agency's legacy and its intent post-CHOGM.
I mean, it's critical that there's a legacy, and I say this can't be one and done. We can't just have one meeting and expect everything to change. It's actually the work that will follow after the meeting that is really critical. And so we know that. And we know that we're going to have to continue to work with governments after the meeting to help them and support them implement the commitments that they've made. So one of the main things that we're hoping to be able to launch at the summit is what we're calling an accountability framework, a platform where actually you put in and record the commitments that are made, and then we can measure and monitor whether people are actually living up to those commitments. And we can use opportunities, whether it's at the United Nations or at the World Health Organization, to stand up and actually report so that you can hold people to account for what they've actually said they're going to do. So that's one of the things that we're working on now. We're working with the World Health Organization so that we'll have this joint platform where we measure those commitments. In the Caribbean specifically, we hope that there will be a legacy. We're working with a number of our member organisations who are working with governments here in the Caribbean to do surveys right at this moment to actually assess what the need is, particularly in the Eastern Caribbean. And here in Antigua, one of our members, Cure Blindness, is doing a specific project to look at developing services, particularly around cataract operations, to improve the numbers and quality of cataract operations. And indeed, there are a number of nurses right at this moment in training outside Antigua who will come back to Antigua, who have been trained up to be able to deliver eye care services here. And we hope that that will be a lasting legacy that will follow from the summit as well.
Let's talk about the Global Summit for Eye Health.
The summit, as you say, will be on November the 2nd. It'll be most of the day, at least half a day, probably a whole day event. There will be a number of things. We're hoping that we will have an exhibition which will showcase technology and showcase actually the possibilities, because there's all sorts of exciting technology now. You can diagnose people remotely using remote technologies, and there's all sorts of technology that can be used to improve and help improve eye care. So we hope we'll have an exhibition that can showcase that. We hope that we will have many of the leaders who are here from CHOGM being able to come and make their commitments publicly. So there will be a significant section which is devoted to leaders being able to actually publicly stand up and make the commitments that they're making for their governments. But we will also look at the big issues that exist in eye care around cataract operations and improving cataracts, around refractive error and access, and crucially access to glasses. And we hope as well around some of the infectious diseases, so trachoma, which is a horrendous disease that causes blindness and is extremely painful. And we will hope we will be able to have spotlights on each of these issues so that we can really showcase what's happening. And alongside that, I can't say now because they'll be announced at the summit, but we hope that we'll have some really big announcements around initiatives in those areas which will really launch us over the next few years towards, we hope, really making a huge dent in that number of 1 billion people who don't have access to eye care.
There are those who have limited access and there are those who have no access. What sort of impact does that have overall?
It has such an impact on people's lives if you don't have access. And the reality is glasses can be really expensive, but they don't have to be expensive. And sometimes that's about just the availability of cheap glasses. I can get cheap reading glasses very easily in London, but often in some of the poorest villages, they're just simply not available. So it's about how do you actually get affordable cheap glasses out into communities, and sometimes that's to do with the regulations and policies that exist. So some countries tax glasses as a luxury good. If you tax a pair of glasses as a luxury good, automatically it becomes a luxury good. We have one example just this year of Nepal. We went to Nepal last year and had an event in Nepal last year, and the government announced that it was going to remove taxes on glasses. It didn't initially do it, but one of our members then took them to court, and the Supreme Court ruled that actually they'd made that commitment and that had to happen. And so the government has now removed all taxes on glasses. And as a result, glasses are much more affordable. So some of the things that you can do actually don't involve lots of money being spent on providing lots of services. It can be around the policies as well that you have.
The critical role of eye health. How many of us push that element under the rug, not making it a priority? Peter stresses on its importance.
No, I think you put your finger on a really, really important issue, actually, because I think often you take your eyesight for granted. Really, it's one of those things that you just assume that's how it is, and you don't really think about it. We actually have a global campaign called Love Your Eyes, which is exactly about addressing that and about actually just making people aware that you need to think about your eyesight. So every year there's World Sight Day, which is the second Thursday in October, and that's an opportunity to really go out and spread that message. And that's something that we do globally. We reach hundreds of millions of people, particularly through social media, in terms of just getting that message out that you need to love your eyes.
That's Peter Holland of the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness and the Global Eye Health Summit on November 2nd. Coming up, Garfield Burford sits down with Razmi Farouk, Director General of the Commonwealth Foundation. The People's Forum is a highlight of their discussion.
Antigua and Barbuda will be at the center of global business this November. For the first time in its history, the country will host the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM. A key part of those discussions will be the Commonwealth Business Forum. It will be hosted by the Commonwealth Secretariat in partnership with the government of Antigua and Barbuda and the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, CHOGM.
The road to CHOGM will therefore focus on new initiatives for high-impact investments, building deeper trade and investment partnerships.
A lot of business people will come to our country, and they will share technological developments, they will share investment opportunities, and we certainly want to make sure that our local business people are at the table.
Decision makers and thought leaders in business will converge on Antigua for this blockbuster event. Local businesses will get their chance to network and explore cutting-edge partnerships to take their enterprises to the world. The sub-region will also be engaged, as the forum will feature the Investment Summit with a participation from the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Find out how you and your business can be a part of the Commonwealth Business Forum from November 2 to 4, 2026. Contact the planning office today at 464-5113. The Commonwealth Business Forum will be game-changing. Be a part of it. So thank you so much for speaking with us, Razmi Farouk. Ms. Farouk, let's start off by asking you, how long has the People's Forum been held alongside CHOGM, and who organizes it?
So the People's Forum was first held in 1991 in Harare. So it's been some time since the People's Forum has been alongside CHOGM. And it is led by the Commonwealth Foundation, of which I am the Director General. We work closely with the host government to ensure that it really reflects the Commonwealth priorities and appreciates the unique context of host countries and the various regions that we work across. And it really is the principal platform for Commonwealth civil society to come together.
How do you assess its effectiveness over time, over that period of time that it's been held?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to do with the partners and the organizations that attend the People's Forum. We look to have a wide spread of activists, academics, artists, and community leaders to come into the People's Forum space, exchange ideas, develop recommendations, build partnerships. We want to ensure that the voices of Commonwealth citizens help inform the discussions that take place at CHOGM. So it's really a unique opportunity as well for, government and civil society to come together with the various stakeholders that are within civil society. And we try in our preparations for the People's Forum to ensure quality and a reflection and participation from across, as I said, the globe and citizens to really engage in this space. The Commonwealth Foundation also works with the Antiguan government and the Commonwealth Secretariat to support the Commonwealth Foreign Ministers meeting. That is really a dialogue between civil society and the foreign ministers of the various Commonwealth countries. And it gives us the opportunity in a way that no other organization has that mandate or platform to really bring international organizations into the space and into having dialogues with government directly. So through the People's Forum, we see that civil society organizations can have a real bearing and influence. The foundation convenes the dialogue in a way that really allows them to bring recommendations and perspectives that have taken place during the forum program. which happens over 3 days. And it's a sort of, it's a leadership dialogue that looks to really influence long-term change and highlight key issues that civil society are actively engaged with across the Commonwealth.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Farouk. So that's crucially important. You mentioned that the focus is really to engineer long-term change. How do you measure? Is there a mechanism for tracking the deliverables, measuring the results to make sure that it's essentially not just a talking shop where there's a prognostication of the problem, a prognostication of issues, and pontification? How do we ensure that we have measurable results?
Yeah, I mean, the Commonwealth Foundation works really closely with the Commonwealth Secretariat and the governments of the Commonwealth countries. We understand and have our ear to the ground around what are the key priorities that Commonwealth civil society and citizens are pushing for. How does that align with the work that government is doing? And how do we engage in key global platforms that really help to push on these agendas? From our perspective, we have 3 key priorities: freedom of expression, economic inclusion, and climate and environmental justice. And we take that lens to help us to give us more focus in the support and the amplification of the work of civil society, and how they can take their priorities forward with government. We look at ways, we look to identify catalytic moments of change, where bringing voice and bringing attention to issues can help to move the agenda forward, and explore really a more nuanced understanding of how civil society is mapping these priorities and tools and mechanisms through which they are trying to navigate for system change. So that's really how we do it in a sort of nutshell. But of course, it's much more detailed when it comes to the particular areas and themes that we focus on.
Excellent. Director General Farouk, let's talk about specifically now the People's Forum that will be held here in Antigua and Barbuda. What will be the theme of the People's Forum, and are you satisfied with the preparations so far?
Yeah, the People's Forum aligns with the overall CHOGM theme of accelerating partnerships and investment for a prosperous Commonwealth. Within that framework, this year's programme places a particular emphasis on creativity, a key priority for the Commonwealth Foundation, and one that reflects the extraordinary creative energy of Antigua and Barbuda, the Caribbean, and the wider Commonwealth. We believe creativity has the power to bring people together, inspire dialogue, and help tackle shared challenges. The programme is forming well, and we are working very closely in consultation with our civil society partners across all Commonwealth regions, ensuring it reflects the priorities and perspectives of communities throughout our membership. The highlight of this year's forum will be the launch of the Commonwealth Quilt, an interactive exhibition featuring more than 1,000 creative contributions from people across the Commonwealth. The digital quilt will be accompanied by a selection of pieces in a smaller physical exhibition in Antigua and Barbuda. Alongside creativity, the forum will explore the priorities set out in the Commonwealth Foundation's new 2026-2031 strategy. As I mentioned earlier, it's focused on economic inclusion, climate and environmental justice, and freedom of expression. And so the forum will bring together invited delegates from across the Commonwealth who have like a strong track record on these key issues, civil society organisations who have been working actively to promote in these areas, alongside representatives from government who are championing, issues related to our thematic areas, academics who can lend insight, and creative partners who can really bring the matters that are of importance to us, bring them in a way that we can really relate to and connect with, and amplify the voices of those whose struggles and stories we need to amplify.
Very good. It sounds absolutely extraordinarily exciting. And by the way, we had a program, Road to CHOGM, recently where we spoke with the co-lead, we spoke with civil society organizations, we spoke with the creatives, and they're absolutely elated and delighted to be part of the preparation. So it promises to be very exciting and thought-provoking. Let's focus on, so there will be the Women's Forum, the Youth Forum as well. Will there be cross-cutting themes between these 3 forums?
Absolutely. I mean, we are working behind the scenes to ensure we understand and can connect very closely with the forums, looking at ways in which we can complement each other's agenda and support each other to take the messages forward. We have regular meetings as organisers, also to ensure that we don't duplicate and that we can identify those points of convergence. We are also working closely together to minimise any kind of scheduling conflicts and maximise opportunities for shared engagement. The People's Forum is distinctive because it brings together the full breadth of Commonwealth civil society, from community organisations and human rights groups to professional associations, researchers, trade unions, environmental organisations and artists. And we also want to explore that kind of intergenerational dynamic. How can we bring young people's voices into the fore where they really champion issues and highlight the things that matter most, as well as looking at, people with disability, elderly, and how we can have cross-sector dialogues. But the integration between the various forums is so key to making sure that we have amplification of the priorities across the forums.
Very good. A final question to you, Director General Farouk. The creatives here in Antigua and Barbuda are already very excited, and they're planning a major welcome for yourself and the other international delegates. What will be your message to creatives in Antigua and Barbuda as they prepare, as they look ahead to this People's Forum?
Well, I was in Antigua and Barbuda in February, and I had an opportunity to meet with a range of creatives in Antigua and Barbuda who were extremely impressive and who I had a very honest and powerful dialogue with. It was really important to me that I understood the civil society and the creatives and artists in Antigua and Barbuda, that before we could frame and shape anything, that we were listening to them, understanding their needs and looking at ways in which we could support the things that matter to them most. I think, as I said to them when I met them in person, CHOGM provides a really unique opportunity for Antigua and Barbuda. There's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of excitement. Antigua and Barbuda is an extremely creative and rich place for artists and for culture and for heritage, as well as the wider Caribbean. And this is an opportunity to really take that platform, showcase your work, showcase the change you can make, really work with us and work with others to take forward the things you want, where you want to see change and how you want to see it delivered. And we will help to facilitate those dialogues, help to facilitate the coming together of artists and creatives across the Commonwealth to support your work and to build that solidarity of artists and creatives across the globe. I think this is the CHOGM for creatives, to really take forward those messages that are so important to all of humanity, but in a way that creatives can only do, which really pulls on our hearts and minds and will bring about change in a way that is lasting for all of us.
It sounds like this might be the best People's Forum ever. Would I be correct in saying that, Ms. Farouk?
I look forward to it, and I hope I will try my best to make it the best People's Forum ever. And we're working very closely. It can with our key partners, our civil society actors, our artists, our creatives, and all the other partners we work with government. Antigua and Barbuda government task force and stakeholders have been so helpful in making sure that we take this agenda forward. And it's been a really wonderful collaborative partnership. And we can only do it with the support of others as we work forward and prepare for hopefully the best People's Forum ever.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. So we're just speaking with Rasmi Farouk, the Director General for the Commonwealth Foundation. We thank you so much for your time. We thank you so much for the immense energy and industry that you've put into planning for this, alongside the task force here in Antigua and Barbuda. And we look forward to what promises to be perhaps a game-changing, epoch-making, best ever People's Forum. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you to you too. Take care.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Take
Bye.
care. Thanks. Okay.
Well, that's how we wrap up the road to CHOGM. Thank you to all our guests from across the Commonwealth. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you so much for watching.